The spaceship, a glimmering dragonfly against the black velvet of space, settled onto the planet's surface. Dust billowed, a tan shroud against a sky the color of old bruises. Captain John Reynolds adjusted his helmet, the click of the seal echoing in his ears. Outside, silence reigned.
No welcoming committee.
Dr. Hans Müller, the mission's archaeologist, chuckled nervously. His voice, tinny over the comm system, was the only sound in the vast emptiness. John shared his unease. The planet, catalogued only as Kepler 186 FB, had promised so much. Now, it felt like a tomb.
Let's not borrow trouble. Prepare for planetary EVA. Keep your eyes open, people. We don't know what we're dealing with.
The planet's surface was a canvas of desolation. Crimson sand stretched to the horizon, broken only by the jagged teeth of ancient mountains. The air, thin and cold, carried the scent of dust and something else, something ancient and indefinable. John walked carefully, his boots sinking into the fine sand. Everywhere he looked, there were signs of erosion, of time's relentless march. Canyons scarred the landscape like claw marks, testament to rivers long dry. Above, the sky remained a bruised purple, the dim light casting long, eerie shadows. It was a world stripped bare, its secrets buried beneath layers of dust and silence.
Captain, you need to see this.
Dr. Hans Müller's voice crackled in John's earpiece. Hans stood by a rock face, his gloved hand resting on its surface. John joined him, his heart quickening as he saw the carvings on the rock. They were faint, almost invisible under the dust, but undeniably there. Geometric patterns, intricate and complex, whispered of a civilization long gone. This barren wasteland had once been home to someone. The city, if it could be called that, was a testament to a civilization both advanced and utterly alien. Towers of shimmering metal, their surfaces pitted and dull with age, pierced the bruised sky. Arching bridges, half buried in the sand, spanned chasms too wide to be natural. The silence here was heavier, pregnant with the ghosts of the past. John ran his gloved hand over a smooth, cold metal surface. It hummed faintly beneath his touch, a whisper of energy that sent chills down his spine. The technology here dwarfed anything humanity had ever achieved. Who were these beings who could build such wonders?
This technology, it's beyond anything we've ever imagined.
Dr. Emily Carter, the mission's engineer, breathed. Her voice was filled with awe, but John detected a note of fear beneath it.
They were harnessing energy sources we haven't even dreamt of.
And yet they're gone. What happened to them?
The question hung heavy in the still air, unanswered and unsettling. This dead city, a monument to a lost civilization, held a chilling truth. Even the most advanced societies could be extinguished. The question was, by what? Days turned into weeks as the team explored the ruins. Each day brought new discoveries, each more incredible and unsettling than the last. They found vast libraries filled with crystalline data storage devices, their contents indecipherable. They uncovered subterranean farms illuminated by an eerie, cold light where genetically engineered plants had once flourished. In the heart of the city, they stumbled upon a plaza dominated by a colossal statue carved from a single block of obsidian. It depicted a being with elongated limbs and large, multifaceted eyes, its expression both serene and infinitely sad. The craftsmanship was exquisite, capturing a sense of wisdom and profound melancholy.
It's like they knew.
Dr. Hans Müller, the mission's biologist, whispered, his voice tight. He was standing before a wall-sized mural depicting the same beings fleeing a cataclysmic event. The sky in the mural was a swirling maelstrom of fire and darkness, and the beings' faces were etched with terror.
Knew what?
Dr. Emily Carter asked, her gaze fixed on the mural.
Knew their end was coming, and they couldn't stop it.
As they delved deeper into the ruins, a sense of unease began to settle upon the team. The silence that had initially been so profound was now broken by strange noises, a low hum that seemed to emanate from the ground itself, a faint clicking like insects in the sand, and sometimes carried on the thin wind, whispers, too faint to decipher but filled with an unmistakable sense of sorrow and warning.
Eva found herself constantly looking over her shoulder, her senses on high alert. The data they had gathered painted a picture of a civilization far more advanced than their own, a civilization that had been wiped out in a matter of days. What had destroyed them? And was it still lurking in the shadows of this desolate world?
Did you hear that? Dr. Masood whispered one evening. as they huddled around their makeshift camp in the shadow of a toppled tower. His eyes were wide with fear, and his hand trembled as he reached for his thermal scanner.
"Hear what?" Ava asked, her voice sharper than she intended. She scanned the desolate landscape, her pulse quickening.
A whisper, he replied, his voice barely audible. Like someone or something is trying to warn us. Their worst fears were confirmed in a subterranean chamber, deep beneath the city's surface. They found a control room, its walls a mosaic of flickering screens and glowing glyphs. In the center, a holographic projector displayed a scene of utter devastation. The planet, once a vibrant blue and green, was shrouded in a thick, swirling cloud. Cities burned, their lights winking out one by one, and then a monstrous shape emerged from the cloud, a writhing mass of tentacles and teeth, blotting out the sun.
My God, Dr. Chen whispered, his face pale. What is that thing?
It looks like some kind of bioweapon, Dr. Singh said, his voice trembling. He pointed to another screen, where data scrolled in an alien language. But on a planetary scale, it seems to have consumed everything in its path, drained the planet of its life force.
And the people? Eva asked, her voice a choked whisper.
Gone, Singh replied, his face grim, completely eradicated. The discovery of the entity's true nature cast a pall over the expedition. The thrill of discovery was replaced by a gnawing fear.
The wind, once a whisper, now seemed to moan with the sorrow of a dead world. Every shadow seemed to hold a hidden menace.
Ava found herself constantly checking their equipment, her hand hovering near her sidearm. The silence that had once been so profound was now deafening, broken only by the frantic beat of her own heart.
Captain, I'm picking up something on the long-range scanners. Something big. It's moving towards our position.
What is it?
I don't know, but it's big, Captain. Really big.
Panic threatened to overwhelm them, but Ava fought it down. They were scientists, explorers. They would face this danger with courage and intellect, just like those who had come before.
She ordered the team to pack up the camp, to prepare for immediate evacuation. But as they scrambled to obey, a chilling realization dawned on Eva. They were not alone, not anymore. Something was watching them. She could feel its presence, cold and predatory, like a serpent coiled in the shadows.
We have to go now.
But it was too late. The ground beneath their feet began to tremble, a low rumbling sound filling the air.
What's happening?
It's here and it's coming for us.
The ground split open before them, a gaping maw of darkness that seemed to swallow the dim light. A wave of heat washed over them, carrying with it the stench of decay and something else, something ancient and evil. Eva caught a glimpse of something vast and terrible moving beneath the surface, its form shifting and writhing.
Get to the ship.
She roared, pushing Dr. Singh towards their escape craft. He stumbled, his eyes wide with terror, but he ran. Eva drew her sidearm, its weight reassuring in her gloved hand. She wasn't leaving without a fight. The entity rose from the depths with a roar that shook the very foundations of the ruined city. It was a monstrous amalgamation of tentacles and teeth, its flesh a sickly, pulsating green. Its eyes, cold and malevolent, fixed on the fleeing astronauts. Eva fired a shot, the energy blast a brief spark of defiance against the creature's massive bulk. It barely registered. The entity was too vast, too powerful. They were nothing but insects to it, scurrying for their lives. Ava watched in horror as the entity lashed out, its tentacles smashing into the fleeing astronauts. Dr. Chen screamed as he was snatched into the air, his form disappearing into the creature's gaping maw. Panic threatened to consume her, but Eva clung to a shred of hope. Lieutenant Sato had managed to reach the ship. He was their only chance.
Sato, go! Get out of here! Don't wait for us!
Static was her only reply. She risked a glance back at the ship. It was still there, but the ramp was closed. And standing on the ramp, his face pale but resolute, was Lieutenant Sato. He wasn't leaving without them. Ava felt a surge of pride, even as she knew it was a futile gesture. The entity was closing in, its shadow falling over them like a shroud.
Sato, no.
She cried, her voice breaking. But it was too late. The entity struck, its massive form blotting out the sun. The scream died in her throat as darkness consumed them all. The lost planet had claimed them, just like it had claimed those who had come before.